Good afternoon, 6th grade. Good morning. I don't know what time you're watching this video, but we're at the next lesson of history class. Uh, Last week we were tackling the different themes, elements, maps, things out there of the such. Today we're going to move on with lesson number 2. So if you are in your book, you're on page 38. If you're online, chapter 2, lesson 2, we're exploring economics today. The essential question we're after is, why do people trade? And it matters because most people in our society buy or sell goods and services every day. Trade has also shaped the course of history in major ways. As we continue our theme on just understanding how we're going to study ancient people, trade is one of those things. I need resources, and there's a few choices to get those resources. Go to war or trade for them, and hopefully we can go trade with them so we don't have to go to war. Let's get started. There are 3 key questions to ask about an economy. Question number 1, what goods and services should we offer? Question number 2, how should we create and distribute these goods and services? And question number 3, who will use these goods and services? So number 1, a lot of blanks all filled in there. The difference between goods and services, guys, goods is a product you have. Services is something they provide for you. So I go to the store and I buy a pair of shoes, that's a good. Bob comes and mows my lawn, he's providing me a service. I don't get any goods from him, I just get a mowed lawn, that's a service. So you think about the different businesses that are out there, a lot of businesses provide goods or make goods to sell. A lot of people provide services, they do something for the people, and obviously there are some that do both of those things. So I might, not only mow lawns, but sell you a lawnmower or sell you fertilizer for your lawn, things like that that go along with that. So as we think about running a business, you go through those 3 questions. Hey, I got to decide, what do people want? How am I going to get it to them? And then, is there enough people who want to use these things so that it's a good business? In other words, I want a business that all people want, because then I can sell it to all people. If I have a business, obviously there's businesses that are geared for certain types of people, young, old, things like that, but you're limiting your things. Let's talk about it. In order to make goods or offer services, people need resources. There are 4 major kinds of resources. There's land, labor is your blank, capital, and entrepreneurship. Now we'll talk about each one of these. Land includes the surface of the earth and its natural resources, such as minerals and water. So that's a good one when we talk about land. It's not only the dirt, but everything inside that dirt as well. But not only land, it's also water, guys, which we usually don't think of when we talk about land. Number 2, labor. It is the ability of people to do work. You need labor to make goods and provide services. So in other words, who am I going to hire to do the work for me? And are they capable of doing the labor that I need done? Lots of times you'll see at places that are hiring, I want to work at Sam's Club, they'll say, you must be able to lift at least 50 pounds because some of the things we sell weigh 50 pounds. Now, there are probably people in this world that can't do that labor because they don't have the ability to do the work that I'm asking them. I can't be a mechanic for an airline. I don't know enough about airplanes, so I can't do that labor. Continuing on, capital is the money and goods used to help people make or do things. You need capital to run a business. And so capital, you're filling in the blanks, is the money. That lots of times I'm gonna be run Home Depot, let's say. Hey, I need a ton of capital. I need money to build the Home Depot and then pay for all the products to bring into Home Depot. Now, once I got that set up, then obviously as people come in and buy that stuff, it's going to create money for me that I can buy more and make some of that and pay that stuff off. But capital sometimes is the biggest thing that holds people back from building or making their business bigger because they don't have enough money to take the next step and buy certain things. So we got to figure out how to do that. Lots of times banks will provide capital for them. Continuing on, entrepreneurship is the act of running a business and taking on the risks of that business. Okay, so you got your fill in the blank, it's running a business. Continuing on, entrepreneurship usually describes individuals or small businesses. Another kind of resource is technology. Okay, so it's kind of funny because it says there are 4 major kinds of resources. land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And then the next sentence says, well, there's actually a fifth one. It's technology. Okay, so I'll go back to entrepreneurship, the act of being able to run a business. Guys, that's risky. If I want to start my own business, a lot of us think that sounds so cool. Like, when I get older, I'm just going to run my own business, and I can make my own rules. I don't have to listen to anybody. That sounds great in our heads, but that's the farthest thing from the truth. You actually have to listen to every single person that walks in that business, because if you don't listen to the people who are buying, you will be out of business. If you don't work enough hours to make enough money, you will be out of business. And so it's a huge risk with running a business. We always think of the awesome side of that, like, I make all the money. You certainly do. And so if you can figure out how to run it and make really good decisions, it can happen with that. Okay, technology is using knowledge in a practical way to accomplish a task. Technology can make it easier and cheaper to create goods. So 3, they gave you the statement. 4, they gave you the fill in the blank. It's not only easier, but it might be cheaper to create goods. Guys, when you and I think of technology, we normally think of electronics. Electronics is simply a type of technology. The pencil you're writing with is technology. That has made it easier to write than scratching it into clay like we did in the past. And so all those things are technology. Business obviously is fueled by technology. If I can make goods faster and better, it'll be awesome. I told you back in the day I used to work at Kraft, where we made cheese and crackers. At Kraft Foods, where I work, they could make about 1,500 crackers, cheese and cracker handy snacks every minute. That's how good the technology was at their business. I would work on a machine that would literally put out 4 cheese and crackers every second, if you can start to think about how fast that machine is working. That's technology at its best. Because it can make them that fast, it can keep the price really low. Because the price is low, we have the goods that we want. Continuing on, all of these resources were important to early civilizations as well. So sometimes we think about technology in business today, we forget that it's been going on since the beginning of time. Good land and fresh water were very important to farmers. Early rulers needed many workers for their large projects. They gathered capital by collecting taxes. Merchants showed entrepreneurship. They traded goods to earn a profit or an increase in the value of what they owned. Okay, so that last paragraph just simply says, here's an example of how all 5 of those resources we just talked about were used even in ancient times to be able to work our and improve our kingdom. Going on to the next page, we'll try to understand supply and demand. It says this: getting the resources needed to offer a good or service is the first step to providing that good or service. Next, you need to know how much of that good or service to offer. You will also want to decide how much money to charge for the good or service. These choices were affected by the laws of supply and demand. Supply is the amount of a good or service that a producer wants to sell. The law of supply says that the higher the price you can charge for a good or service, the more of it you will want to sell. Demand is the amount of something that a consumer wants to buy. The law of demand says that the lower the price of a good or service, the more of it people will want to buy. So as you're filling in your blanks there, guys, you have the supply there. Supply is the amount of good or service that a producer, so the person who makes it, wants to sell. Obviously, they want to produce and sell a lot, but if there's not enough consumers, guys, if there's not enough demand, that doesn't do you any good. Number 6, the law of supply says that, we'll go into this next one. Sorry, that's in that one. Says, where am I now? Number 6 says that it's the higher the price that you can charge. Okay. Number 7, demand is the amount of something that a consumer wants to buy. What I really want as a person who's selling is I want the demand to be high. Think of your iPhones. There's a great demand for iPhones. Because of that, what happens to the price of those iPhones? Every time a new iPhone comes out, it gets more and more expensive. When I was younger and cell phones were just coming out and they were trying to get you to sign up, they would offer you cell phones for free. Today you're going to pay $1,000 for a new iPhone, aren't you? And so you can see as demand has changed, the price goes right along with it. Next paragraph says this: you can see the supply and demand curves on the graph on this page. Look at the supply curve. It shows that people want to make more goods when the price is high. The demand curve shows that buyers want to buy less when the price is high. In a free market, that's America, these forces balance each other over time. The seller and the buyer will agree on a price and amount that satisfies both. So you can see on this curve here, guys, that the higher the demand, usually the higher the price. The other way to get the price up is if my supply goes low on something. In other words, let's pretend that we have a shortage on wheat and there's not that much bread. Everybody wants bread. The demand is high, the supply is low. We'll be over here on this churn and we'll get a super high price. What do we have? What do we have going on here? We have for bread, we have a decent amount of demand, but we have a huge amount of supply. So that keeps the price at about the right level. Okay, that's equilibrium, where it balances out between those two. Now, it doesn't mean always the price is going to be cheap. It's just everybody's happy with the price that they're paying for those things. Okay, there are other things that affect supply and demand. One is scarcity, or a lack of a resource. Scarcity is a big deal with that, guys. We see that all the time as certain resources start to run a little bit low as they work their way through that. So number 9 was balance. 10, scarcity is the lack of a resource. Now they'll say how that matters. When not much of a needed resource is available, then the demand for it will grow. The higher the demand will raise the price. This may force people to seek replacements for that resource. What that gets down to is this. We're running out of wheat, the price of bread is going up because we're lacking the resource of wheat to make bread. So the price just went up too high. Now you have to make a decision. Am I going to pay that high price, or am I going to say, forget it, I'm going to live without bread? That's what they're getting at down here when they say it might make you replace that resource. Another factor is opportunity costs. The opportunity cost of something is what you give up to make it or buy it. Suppose you're a farmer, you choose to grow wheat on your land. You spend time and resources to grow the wheat. Well, you're growing the wheat, you can't use the land to grow beans. You are giving up the chance to grow something else when you grow wheat. The time, resources, and choices that you gave up are all part of opportunity costs of growing wheat. People are always weighing the opportunity costs of their choices about what to make and what to buy. So you're blank for number 11, the opportunity cost. That's what business decisions make all the time. I'm Nike and I'm making Nike shoes. Should we also make apparel? Should we also make apps for exercise? And maybe Nike says, maybe we should make food someday and have Nike chocolate bars. Those are the opportunities. Does it pay to try to invest in something because of the ability to make more money? We have to balance all those things. 6, we're going to stop there. You're kind of catching a theme with Chapter 2. We're not getting through all the lessons in 1. We'll pick up the lesson tomorrow as we finish up Lesson 2, and then you'll get your worksheet. Have a great day.